te tā tauti mai rā ki tēnei tā tātou punua pāho under the Whāriki. Ko te atākura Charlene, pewhairangi taku ingoa.
Ko tau ala sa hau, he kaupapa nui, he kaupapa tapu I te rangi nei. Stay around for this one. I've been looking forward to this wānanga myself. And also with this manuhiri, tēnā māu pēr e whakamārama mai ko ai koe hea te kaupapa o te rangi nei.
Ai, tēnā kora o tira, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Jay Wanakore a hau, he uri no ngā iwi o Ngāti Maniapoto, te whakatōhia me Ngāti Kahungunu anō hoki. I tēnei wā tonu e noho ana ki tā maki makaurau me taku whānau, me aku tamariki toko whā.
Nau mai.
Kia ora.
Tas kaupapa, me pēr tātou e uru e ruku ki tēnei wānanga.
O tuatahi ake, me mihi ki a koe, tō whakatuwhera I a koe anō I te mea he kaupapa nui, he kaupapa kaore anō kia ata wānanga, and you shared with us, bro, that this is the first time you've openly talked about this kaupapa. So, can you tell us a little bit about the journey that you and your whānau have been on?
It has been a journey, koira. Me ki ko tahi tau te whakawhitinga o toku whaia ki te ao wairua. So we just celebrated the life of our mama not too long ago, so it's been her 1 year anniversary. And and euthanasia was her path, I guess, that she chose for herself. Me te mea no hoki hara tēnei I te mea mama, he mea tino, me ki he mea taumaha, he mea he whakaro nui tēnei mō tētahi tangata ki te whakatau mōna ake.
He mea ata rangaha.
Yeah, rawatu. So I think if I start for Mama's case, she got diagnosed with cancer and she got given 6 months. And for her, she, mena ka mohi ko I te wahine nei, he wahine tai kahara wātu, ka he wahine ngākau māhaki, ngākau tūwhera ki tōna whānau, ona mokopuna, ki ona akonga, tori tukau tau ia e whakaako tamariki ana. Anō nei he kaiako hākina kina hoki, so I reira anō I te hiatu tamariki ona. And yeah, that's just the type of person she was. She just gave to everybody all her hapori and her every area of her life. And so for her, she never wanted to be a vegetable in bed and not be able to function. She was a fit and healthy person herself. Right up until when she got diagnosed, she was like training every day, playing tennis 3 days a week. So koera tōna ao. And so she was like, nah, I never want to be a vegetable. So if anything, if my māwiwitanga becomes really bad, that's the ara that I want to whai. And for us, I remember when we had our first whānau hui about her wanting to choose this option. And for me and my tungane, like knowing the her that we know, like she's very much like me whai koe ngā mea katoa, me ora rawatu koe, me mahi koe ngā mea katoa kia angitu ai koe ki tō ao. And so for us to hear that she wanted to follow this path was a bit of a shock for us. We're like, hey, like you're just tapping out on us. You're...
Whaimuri the diagnosis?
Yeah. So from the diagnosis, they told us she had 6 months. And so, but they said that she could decline quite fast. And so, pretty much about like 2 months after the diagnosis was when we actually had our hui as a whānau when she shared that with us. And that was our initial reaction was like, oh, that's really care to hear from her when she's been the biggest encourager of all of us to just live and, never give up. But it's never normal to hear somebody that you love so much, choose something that's going to end their life. Like that's not a normal thing to hear anyway. He rereke tērā. Engari.
And how was that wānanga? Because, you've got mama that has You've explained to us she's very taikaha who's made her decision.
Yes.
How was that wānanga process? Because you've also got tamariki who also have their opinion, who want to support their mama and their mama's decision, but also want their mama around. How was that for you guys?
It was so rangirua because I had to be in like 3 different, I guess, like pota. Like, I'm trying to be the tamaiti who's trying to support my mama and be like, yes, we support you with everything you want to do. But also, it's okay to be the child and like grieve and be like, actually, no, I don't want you to do that. And then you just kind of, there's this other side of you where you're like, okay, it's happening. We're just going with the flow. Just hoi hoi and let it happen. You know, it's a weird place to be in through that wānanga. But I will say that it you know, for someone to decide that, it's not an easy thing to decide. So I know, like, you know, she's very much, she had to have processed everything to actually come to that decision to even just have that whānau hui with us, you know.
And what does that process look like? Like, I'm assuming it's a pretty big process for her and what she had to go through in order to get that across the line.
So the whole process for getting the okay from the tākuta is about a 3-month journey. So you actually have to have a range of hui with tākuta, with like psychologists, just to basically ensure that the person that's making this decision is of sound mind, is not being coerced by anybody.
Really know the options.
That they're not being influenced by whether it's like any medication that they could be on, or just aua mea. So you have to have a range of different hui with doctors, with nurses, with psychologists, just to ensure that you are making this decision of a sound mind. But for her specifically, her kind of time frame to actually do it was shorter because her cancer was in her brain. And so she was almost at a threshold where she couldn't make the decision. And so her decision to do it, had to happen between this certain time or she wouldn't have been able to do it. So she kind of had that time pressure on her as well. So she had been through those range of hui even before we had our whānau hui. And so to hear that, she'd already started the process. But it was crazy because she was so positive about it. She was like, I've had the hui with the tākuta, and they said I'm okay, and all of them, I'm like, okay, like, you know, we just, it's normal about this thing happening.
You true. Because, kei te kōwhiri te mate. It's like, if you break it down, it's like, well, the only other comparison we have I tēnei ao, ko te whakamomori. And that's the choice of taking your life. Ki au ko te rerekētanga, he mana ki te euthanasia, nā te wānanga a whānau. Pera I te moko, hai kiri. We do that publicly, and hari I te ngākau muna, but ko ngā whānau e kati ana I o rātou kiri. He ori te rongoa. Ko te hai kiri, hei rongoa mō koe, me o mamai. But ko te rerekētanga, ko tahi I te ao, ko te mea e rua I te pō.
Tika.
And I heri mai koutou tērā mate ki te ao. She brought it out and she said, this is my option. This is what I want to choose. I'm over this. I'm over this mamai. How am I gonna make you all right with me?
Tika. And mōna ake, she was like, I never want this māwiwitanga to take me, so I want to take it myself. You know, she's like, I want to be the one who did it. And she was also telling us, she was like, and I want you to tell everyone that it was me that decided.
Chose.
And engari mōku ake, I was like, no, I don't want to tell people that, like, you decided, like, so I felt a bit of, I don't know, what's the word? I felt, it wasn't like whakama. I just felt, I don't know, it was weird. I just felt like I didn't want to tell people that she decided it, even though now I'm like, ke te pai. Because even at her tangihanga, she was like, I want you to tell people that it was me, I did it. I was like, I don't want to. Like, so I still had a bit of, weirdness about the whole thing. But ko tērā tāna hiahia, she was like, no, I wanted to go out on my terms, not let the cancer just take over me, make me bedridden and not be able to function or kōrero. And she was like, you know, I want to, go out with that dignity and knowing that it was me that decided it.
And how is that process as a whānau, bro? Because, you know, there's so many whānau that don't have, I don't know that this is a good thing, but have time to farewell their loved ones.
Yeah.
Whereas you as a whānau, like what was, I mean, kei te rapua hau I tētahi waikanaitanga I roto I tēnei. How was that process of being able to, I mean, poroporo aki ki tō māma?
Yeah. Rawa, mi haro rawatu tā mātou maringa nui I whai wāhi ki te poroporo aki aia I te wai ora tonu ana. And I think within that was a lot of the healing for us. So pretty much like the week of when she was going to do it, our whole whānau whare was filled with like 30 whānau in there. We all knew what was going to happen, but I think the beautiful thing was that we all got to share the load of that taumahatanga. Like it wasn't just on me and my brothers and my papa. Had it just been us, it would have felt very taumahara wātu. But because there was like 30 of us in the whare, we were all just like filling the whare with waiata and beautiful kaitahi and poroporo aki. And being able to just celebrate her and have her poroporo aki with her and say it to her face was...
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You got to like tangi her.
Yeah.
She got to hear all these yarns.
Yeah.
Like that's...
all these yarns and all that.
That's crazy. Because, hey, ai marika he maringa nui ki te plan I tō tangi.
Yeah, and she planned most of it.
Yeah,
you know, like koera tōna momo, like, it was awesome. And we just sat in our big lounge and all our whānau just went around and, you know, I tū te hiki te kangakanga ki wai, you know, ki te kōwhiti wai, momo. But, you know, not many whānau get that, you know, ko te nuinga ka hinga, kare ka whai
you don't even get not the mea you get a plan, you don't even get a warning.
No.
Hey.
Yeah, but we had that 6 months to lead up, we had that last month, we had that last week, like we could literally plan down to the day, you know. And...
So, like the nehu, really. Yeah.
But I rere hua rawatu tērā āhuatanga. Te noho ngātahi, mōna ki te rangona I aua kupu, I aua waiata, I aua kōrero. Hei rongoa mōna.
I pēa tōna hanga I tērā wikia?
Tōna hanga, me ki, so I tino huri, so he wahine, I mui tā mātou mōhio I aia te taua whakataunga. Like, he tino whiroki ia, tino kaha tōna tinana, nā ngā rongoa ka āhua, like puffy haere, ka pupuhi haere te tinana, so I pēra haere tōna tinana.
That was karearoto.
Ona karearoto. Nā, I tau. Engari, I reira tonu, I ki te pauri, like we would be talking about stuff that the kids would have coming up. Well, I'd be like, son's got a league tournament coming up and ko tōna ao ko te ao hākina kina. So she'd be like, I'm going to miss out on these things, you know? So I ki te au I tōna pauri te wai kōrero ia mō o nā mokopuna.
Koira tētahi o ngā taumahatanga o tērā. And were you able to have your tamariki there in that time with Mum?
So, I made a decision. Oh, man. I made a decision that I didn't want my tamariki to see her, to have that as their last... as their last experience of their kuia. I didn't want them to see her pass away. So They weren't there, but they were literally there the week before. We had been on hararei with her for the previous 2 weeks, so they got to be with their kuia and have all that time with her, which was choice. Yeah, but that, like, coming to the actual day was crazy. So, like, it's crazy to think, like, you're planning literally to the hour of when you're pass away. Yeah, so literally, like, so, like, we're counting down, like, the week of right till, like, the last night. Hey, you know, like, the last night to know that our pōpō, we're going to wake up and mama's going to die today. You know, like, just everything that's going on in your upoko, trying to tell yourself, it's okay, but also be like, no, it's weird. Like, what are we up to? And, yeah, like, it was such a mentally just exhausting and challenging time.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where your whakaaro needs to be. You're like, you know, one side you're just trying to be like, I'm the eldest of my whānau. So I'm trying to be like the tuakana and trying to like help run everything and make sure everyone's doing all the things. Trying to be, you know, the supportive son for my mama and not let her, like, I didn't want her to see me pōti because I didn't want to make her pōti. So, you know, it's all these conflicting bloody emotions and internal battles that you're having. But yeah, I like the process on the actual day of, was crazy. So like I think it was at 12 o'clock was the time when it was going to happen. And basically the way that she chose to do hers was through like, it's like a medical like syrup. And so you just take a skull of this inu and within like 30 seconds kua mate.
Sure.
Yeah, so like he pērā te tere. And so...
And ka just takoto.
Yeah, ka takoto and kua mate.
What are ngā twitches or anything?
Nah, and so ka tae mai te...
Could the whānau be around her when she was taking the shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had made her up a moinga in the lounge. We were all in there. Ka tae mai te nehi hei te like te kaugu miniti ki te marua. So we all knew like as soon as the nurse arrived it was happening. And so like even just that mental of like, when's the nurse arriving? You know, like it was just, it was too much, you know, it was crazy. But I remember giving her like my last awhi that morning and like breaking down. But still, trying to be like, oh no, you got to be strong for mama, like don't let her see you pōti. But knowing like the person that she was still busy trying to care for everyone else. She was still trying to write to everyone on like her messenger, like send her last messages. I'm like, why all to wire, man? Like, don't worry. Trying to call her best friends and all these. I'm just like, oh, leave your wire. Like, just focus on everybody that's here. But yeah, like I couldn't imagine for her what it was like counting down the hours till like, you know.
What did she look like in that moment? Was it stone cold? She was ready, like game day.
Yeah. Hey. Or like she was almost just like in a relaxed... Yeah, just like a more of like just a real relaxed aura kind of, you know, like she was like, it's like accepted. Like she was like, it's happening. I'm just being present, being here. But still on her phone trying to message all her while. I was like, oh, where?
Was there anyone in the whānau that was like totally against this and was like, nah?
Yes, my kuia, her mama was against it. She was just like, no, like I'm, you know, old school, you know, didn't kari whakapono ki tēnei āhuatanga. You know, we were very much like, no, you're going to get better, you know, ka pēnei. But then she soon, you know, after we had the hui with the tākuta and she kind of, got to learn more about the whole process and how it was going to happen and that it wouldn't be so kind of invasive or like mamai for her. She, had kind of accepted it a bit more. My papa is one of those tāne who just supports, has always just supported her. He just kind of went along with it knowing that she's going to do it anyway. You know, she's, So he's always just had to follow suit. But yeah, it's so rerekē.
Yeah.
It's so rerekē. But what I must say is like, yeah, it was just having our whānau around, being able to share in that taumahatanga together, made it feel more Māori. Also, one of our whāngai brothers, Te Wehi Wright, he was with us that whole week too, just doing karakia, just guiding us and, yeah, just kind of giving us that guidance for that week. Because, you know, yeah, like you said, he momo whakamomori pia. Engari, you know, nāna no tēnei whakatau i kōwhiringia. So, yeah, no, it was awesome having just that guidance and that tautoko a Māori, a wairua nei, for our whānau made it feel a bit more lighter. And I think the mourning process happened...
Started.
Yeah, it already started. Like we were able to mourn and kind of, yeah, we had that whole month leading up to it to be able to go through that mourning process anyway. And so I think even when she had passed, weirdly, we all just kind of snapped into like tangi mode and we were like, okay, which I don't know if that's okay. Like,
I reckon.
Like, yeah. Like we'd already had plans. She had already told us what she wants. She had already delegated all the jobs. Like we were just like, okay, like you know what you got to do. I know what I got to do. Let's go do the mahi. So, yeah, and, you know, not many people get to help coordinate the tangihanga and, you know. So, yeah, you know.
Well, you would have been rolling up to the tangi like already kopania.
Yeah, oh, fully. And so for people who came to her tangihanga and...
They looked at you like...
Yeah, we weren't tangi meme or anything, you know, like we were like, no, we've had our time with her. Like, this is for you guys to, you know, haramaki te tangi o roi mata ki aia. So yeah, it would have been weird coming and seeing us not very pody. But she was also like, no, I want you to celebrate life. I want it to be a happy tangihanga. I don't want you to wear pango. I don't want, like, she's like that. She was like, I want you to have fun. I want the kids just to be running around. So I pērā mātou, and like, we were so lucky. We had like 4 or 5 days of beautiful sunny skies at our marae, and yeah, all her mokopunas were playing everywhere, and yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah.
I thought about when you said that, you know, on game day, she e tino tau.
Yeah.
Ka whakaaro ia au tērā wāhi te matahiapo. And mō tātou kare moio mi te nota, te matahiapo, he rūma. He rūma ka haere te tūpāpaku. And ki reira ka haere mai o tīpuna kia eke mārunga te rangi kaupapa ki te rerenga wairua. So, ko ngā mata e hia nei te pō. That's what it is. And so you're in this waiting room, and when you talked about her being tau like that, it's like she was already got to go wait. She was ready.
Aye.
So skip the mata, you were straight to the rerenga wairua, gone.
Yeah.
That's the mate when you got to the tangi, ko weheke i koe. That's a cool... That would have been mean to see, bro.
Yeah. And just on that, one of her friends is a matikite, and as soon as she had like taken the rongoa, like I said, like within 30 seconds, ka takoto, ko haere. Her hoa, she goes, we all heard the front gate slam closed, and her hoa said, she's just gone with your koro. Like, so her papa, my koro, had passed on. Yeah, and so she was like, I just saw her go with your koro. And when she said that, I was like, that actually gave me like a sense of like relief, because for me, I was like, I didn't want her to be alone anywhere, you know?
Oh, that's so buzzy.
Yeah, and so as soon as she had said she's gone with your koro, I was like, cool, like she's with someone. Yeah. She's all good, get te pai ia. Yeah, and so that just gave me like a sense of relief that, you know, kua tau tōna wairua, ko hoki atu ia ki tōna pāpā, so yeah.
There'll still be some people out there that are like, kaua mā te tangata e whakatau, kua mutu te wāhi ki tāna oranga.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people, or to those that are maybe going through this process with their whānau, And, you know, what kupu aki do you have to support them in that? Because there are some who are like, Carl,
Totally.
but you've shared such a, you know, your experience, your personal experience with it. How o kupu aki ki te rahunga?
Yeah, kia au nei, because me pono I wasn't actually for my mama doing this too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very, you know, like a positive person. I was always like, nah, mama, you're going to get better. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't really one of my wants for her. But obviously, you know, we've got to put ourselves in their shoes. Like, we're not going through any of that pain. We're not going through any of that mamai that they're going through. And it's not our job. You know, we're all individuals, you know, ma te tangata tōna ake, ara e whai. So I think, you know, first you got to take a step back and just be considerate about, you know, what are they going through? What is their mamai that they're going through? And maybe, you know, I think until you've actually been able to sit and have a wānanga a whānau and a wānanga with the tākuta, just to find out what does that even look like. I think mā tērā ka whai e tehi kōrero, e tehi rautaki anō, māu. There are other avenues as well. But I think the main thing is just be open to the whakaaro first. It's hard enough for the person who's having to make the decision. You know, it's such a taumaha thing to be able to share with your whānau, let alone coming up with that decision for yourself. So I think, yeah, just being open-minded and allowing them, you know, just being considerate of them and what they're going through.
Absolutely.
Hard to, especially being tamaiti, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Your mum tells you what to do. It's not you telling her what to do. So that would even be hard. Mum, I don't want you to do this.
Yeah.
Fuck. Bro. Wow.
I know. That's crazy. That's crazy.
But tō koutou kaha hoki. I would like the option, you know, for me.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. If I got to the stage of veggie or choose to go by myself, I know what I'm choosing.
Yeah.
Not veggie.
Nah.
Not tamara. No way. So there's such a hard space to navigate, eh, bro?
And I've heard some stories of like before, because it's only been legal in Aotearoa now, I think for only like 2 years.
Yeah, it's not very
so
long.
It's still quite a new thing, but I've heard some really pody stories of people who have been very mawiri, who have tried to attempt to take their own lives in other ways because they haven't had this option. And things have just gone really wrong, or, you know, it's...
Is this the referendum they put through for euthanasia here?
Yeah. So prior to having this option, people have tried so many other ways that just haven't been good for them, you know, or haven't been like the safest or the, you know. So I think now that people have the option, I think, you know, nā te tangata te whakatau mo tōna ake oranga mate, rānei. And kind of going through that process as a whānau, you know, should I ever get to a state where I'm like, you know, get cancer or whatever, touch wood. Touch wood. You know, I would like that option too, you know, because the last thing I would want is like to be dying a painful, long death.
Or just living a painful life.
Yeah.
Hey.
And just being in a moinga and not being able to breathe or feed or bath yourself, you know, I'm like, that's the last thing that I'd want my kids to be doing for me. Yeah. So yes, but it's crazy. It's not normal. So like, you know, it's okay to think, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's not a normal thing.
Well, this is the first experience I've heard of a whānau Māori, you know, who has experienced this firsthand. It's thank you for sharing.
Now that you said it, the referendum. So I've just gone sidetracked. It was literally the weed referendum next to euthanasia, eh? And like, you can't choose to have a joint. but you can choose this. Come on, whānau, that's hard. It was like, oh my gosh, that's beside the point, it's whānau. But man, I would like to know where, when you got back to the kāinga, I pēa te whakatau o te whānau I tangi.
Anō, hatu
Like, what were they like when you rolled in and they whakatau yous on
Oh,
to
yes.
the tangi?
Yeah.
How were they? Were they te pani rātou? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
were they
yeah,
in
wātu.
pani mode
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yous
yeah,
rolled
yeah,
on?
yeah, aye. Because, so I matia mama ki ahi te reiria, so we
Yeah.
actually had to fly her back here. And of course, in her true style, she had 3 bloody tangihanga, so she had one in ahi te reiria, and then 2 out of marae back home. So you could just do one, eh? So we went on to her marae first, and yeah, I tino pauri katoa, tōna marae ki aia, he I roto I mania poto, so ko tōna ingoa poto ko poto.
Oh.
So they say she puts the mania poto and
She puts the
Put the poto
poto
in
mania
mania
poto. And so, yeah, he nui o nā mahi mo tōna iwi ki mania poto, and so, yeah, I muia te marae I te pauritanga. Anō nei I te marae o taku pāpa hoki, so, yeah, engari, ko tā mātou, ko tāku ki aku whanau zai. Whānau, we're here to celebrate her. You know, like tangi here o Roimata, but we're still here to celebrate the life that she lived and all the amazing things that she set up here for our iwi. I found out that she set up the Maniapoto sports game, so every year they have pa wars there. I remember, our mum set this up here for us, and yeah, all the touch teams back home that she set up, and they're still running now, and so yeah, so kei reira tonu ngā mea hei maharatanga mōna. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's left a beautiful legacy.
She has,
Ka ora
she has.
tonu e roto i a koutou.
Ai,
Ia
rawa
koutou
atu.
ko ana tama, ko ana moko puna. Thank you for coming on, bro. Thank you for sharing your kōrero so openly, especially it being, you know, one of the first times to openly share about a very taumaha kaupapa, and, you know, thinking about 1 year on from losing your mama, it's still a tama that's, you know, mourning his mama, and got tamariki that are mourning, you know, a queer. So mihi ana ki a koe o tira ki tō koutou whānau.
Tēnā koe, tēnā kōrua.
Tēnā koe, boy, tēnā koe. Rātou ki a rātou, tātou ki a tātou. Hoki ora mai, haere ora atu. Love you all.
Tēnā koutou.